ladies, gentlemen, theys and thems, welcome back to new Fire Emblem Builder tutorial. You all thought I was dead, right? Well, I actually am not dead. I'm still alive and I'm still kicking. Just a little busy the last few, months? When was the last time I uploaded the tutorial? That could be almost last year even, maybe in February or something. Either way, I'm still alive and kicking, and not done yet with FEBuilder because a lot of people requested that we take a look at cutscenes or simple cutscenes today in Fire Emblem Builder. I've ran a poll on the channel, which got like 33 votes, which is a decent chunk of votes, where a lot of people were like, yeah, please make a tutorial on or like simple cutscenes. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So grab your popcorn, grab your software, your FEBuilder. Let's get started with making a custom little cutscene. Now, what we will be discussing today is very simple stuff. In this particular cutscene or custom events, which was what we were going to do, we're not going to take a look at the weird checks we've seen before. I have made a tutorial video on that with, I do not really know which one that was. It was one of the FEBuilder Advanced videos where we delved into, say, this particular stuff. You had like a chapter or like an event here, which had like all these weird conditions, all these labels, all these if statements, all these checks for characters. We're not going to dive into this today. Instead, we're going to make a simple tutorial, or I'm making a simple tutorial on a simple cutscene. What we'll be doing with, that's not this event. Oh, let's close this as well, we don't need that. I have something prepped here already. What we'll be doing is I'll explain to you how the displaying frames on characters work, which is a neat little mechanic or function inside FEBuilder that allows you to easily show a character on the map that is important, to highlight a character on the map. We'll talk a little bit about movement in cutscenes and ways how to do that. I have talked about conversations before. I have an event of that right here. This is without a background because we don't need that. This conversation is nothing special. You've seen it in the intro cutscene, which is some post-editing stuff. It's very simple, just a conversation between Tim and Emma about stuff. So it will be showing you exactly how to do movement stuff. I'll show you how to add a song. Some very basic stuff. Right, so getting into it, what you want to do is, whenever you start a cutscene in FEBuilder, it's best to do some of the stuff whilst the screen is black. That way the player does not see whenever stuff gets loaded in. So if I make this a little bigger, it doesn't really matter because I cannot zoom in anyway, but that doesn't matter. Over here we have all these events. Now you can see here, fade the screen from black with speed something something something. It is absolutely, well, it's not crucial because your events will work regardless of if you fade to black or not, if you set everything up correctly. But having these fade to blacks is very nice so that the player does not see, oh, this unit just popped in on the map. And what happens if you instead do not load them in, or if you just load them in whilst the screen is black, they will already be there when the event starts, which reminded me of something. Let me quickly check. We're going to be editing the Fall of Renee, so I'm going to take a look at this little bit right here. So this is interesting. If you're making a start event for your chapter, this setting right here, fade to black, makes it so that once the title screen thing is done, like the you know, when the chapter title gets shown, the opening chapter will fade from black to the map screen, There's also the opportunity for a chapter to start with the map and stuff already being present. If you still have to load in stuff, it's best to set this to fade to black, and a lot of actual maps out there use the fade to black. You can see that Escape and Ancient Horrors use fade to map instead, which is perfectly fine. Which means that you will have to load in units at a separate moment. It's just a little thing to note. I did not change it here because it already is on fade to black. If you're wondering why the heck your characters simply pop in at the start of a chapter, take a look at this little setting right there, because that might be it. That aside, let's go back to the event editor, and let's actually place this here behind the fade to black so that we already have the characters loaded in. I'm also going to add an event for the camera so that the camera is in the correct spot, because I've already thought of a spot I wanted the cutscene to be in. Let's do the cutscene over here somewhere. Let's do it over here. Let's just put the camera there. So the camera... Oh, enable fix. There's a bunch of patches being recommended at the moment. I'll just make sure that those are installed so that the camera will not freeze the event. It's a simple thing. I would recommend you install patches like these as well, because it really helps with the thing going on. Alrighty, so now the camera shall move towards the position I want the event to be in. So if you're making a cutscene, you can also move the camera to have it in a different position. If you ever want to do something cool with that, you can. You can create a map like I did with the or actually what Basis Sacred Stones did. Only the throne is shown in the prologue chapter, which is an interesting little tidbit, even though the map itself is a lot larger. So the map that you actually see the prologue cutscene on is the same map that you will eventually go to with Ephraim and Erica in chapter 19 when they claim back Renee, which is a pretty cool little tidbit information. So right now I wanted to set up an event where Emma is like, "Hey, Lord Tim, let's go and spar and stuff." That's basically what I wanted to get at. So what I will do is, because I already pre-made these units right here, I will put the new units here. Let's go to chapter 14 because I need to position them correctly. I'm going to put you over here. Right there. You do not need this. Delete that. You don't need to move. And we're going to put Emma here. And then what will happen is we'll move Emma towards Tim. Which is the first thing we'll do, I guess. So now the units are in position. Let's look into moving your unit, because that's crucial during cutscenes. Moving your units around, because there's a lot of times that that happens. So, the event starts. We want Emma to walk up to Tim and ask them for a little duel. So what we'll do is we'll click on command, and there's these giant commands. There's this giant list of commands. I have no clue how many of these there are. If someone is so crazy to count all of them, go ahead. I'm not going to do it. What you can do is you can also just, for the search, in the search bar, you can type in, say, move, and then you have all kinds of movement stuff, which is also for the world map. So if you want to be more specific, you can type a more specific prompt, or you click on one of the options to the left, which also says here a bunch of other options, including character warps, so that you warp in, force the stop unit currently moving, which is something I'm not going to use myself. manual move, move unit at coordinates. This is a pretty interesting way of yeah, of just moving units about. You don't need to know what character it is. This is especially handy for generics. If you have generic enemies, it's really useful to have this setting going on, because that way you can select who's going to move and not what character, and generics are usually one of many generic characters in the character editor. You can also move your unit instantly, but I'm looking for this one. Move character to position and then wait. So I'm going to select this. So now we'll just do 60 or maybe 30. Make it a little bit slower, maybe 20. I don't know, I'm just fumbling about seeing what looks good. We're going to select Emma, which is in Marisa's slot in this ROM. Let's see, that's number 17. And then we're going to move Emma over. Can I click? Yeah, I can click. So we'll move her one tile below Tim. So that is that. Now we have our very own movement thingy, and this is how you can move your unit around manually with a simple tutorial, with like a simple command. So we'll put you here, then we'll move you up a bit so that you can just check out, so that you can just you can walk up to Lord Tim. So, what a lot of Fire Emblem games do, if they want to direct their attention to a character who is going to speak, if they're on the map, or to a character who is a main point of interest, or who is the the interesting character for the event going on, they use some kind of indicator, which is usually a frame that is displayed around the unit, to display a certain unit. There's also a frame that you can use. In Fire Emblem Echoes, for an example, they use the same kind of frame to highlight certain tiles sometimes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do exactly that. So if you go over here, you can type in frame, and then there's all kinds of frame stuff. Now I like to personally go for one of these. For frames, for frame seconds, frames character is highlighted. You can also do a shiny frame for if a character is really important, which is a pretty neat one, but don't overuse this too much, otherwise it will not be as special for the rest of the game anymore. It's for when you're explaining a certain game mechanic. I think this is really handy, or for a unit that you have to protect at a certain chapter, for an example. I will use this one though because it's kind of cool. There's a bunch of other commands here. Some will display a frame, but the frame will never go away, so be careful with that. So we're going to do character with shiny frames. You can also do a tile or a unit at certain coordinates, but for now we just want to highlight Emma, so we're going to do that. We'll say 16 because that is Emma. So after moving right here, everything will be executed from top to bottom, by the way. So first we go to the map, then we load the units, then we move the camera. That's all happening off screen. Then the screen fades from black. Then we move Emma. Then for frame seconds, Emma is highlighted, and then the conversation starts. So what will happen now, if we were to boot up the ROM, which I'm not doing with just time, it's better to just test everything after the chapter itself or the event is done. So at the moment, what we have is Emma walks up to Tim, a frame is displayed, and a conversation starts. Pretty neato. One thing that I've had a lot of compliments for, and something that's really important in cutscenes to set a tone or to nail down a particular scene in your ROM hack, is sound design. Now, I've recently completed a project where I was in charge of sound design for another video game, which was a hell lot of fun. I also made 2 music tracks for that game, which was neato. But what you want to do is make sure that your sound design is good, because you may have good visuals, you may have good gameplay, but if you don't have good sound design, you your game will not per se be bad, but your game can be amazing and extremely memorable if you have good sound design. For this particular case, we have a simple cutscene right here that is not really that interesting. So I'm just going with a classic song or sound effect. I was hesitating between the two options, like one usually does when in their brain they want to say one thing, but also another, and then the brain is like, I'm going to say both all at the same time, and then you get an abomination of speech like what I said just now. That little sidetrack aside, let's go to this and add a new command, because there is a various amount of sound effect stuff. You have little musics here. You have a fade-in command for fade-in music, and return to map, which is something you can do if you have a conversation that is supposed to be quiet. You can fade in the music again. You can use a change to background music with fade out, a fast fade out, a slow fade out, which can all add for extra drama or emotion to a scene. Pick the one that fits the best with your scene. Let's say a bomb just dropped. A character says, yeah, you know, the king that has been possessed by a dragon, he did it willingly. Then you use a fast fade out. If there's a slow fade out, you want to use this whenever a character starts to slowly realize something, or something with a slow-paced thingy. You know, music something is an instant change to a song. We have background music stuff, muting music, playing sound effects is also something that can happen, which can also be really interesting. Just see what fits the scene the best. I'm just going to go for music something because that's the standard song. I'm going to double click on this because that way we can go to the sound list, because I was thinking that maybe the birds chirping might just be a pretty cool... There should be a bird chirping. Windy day with birds, or just a... I'm going for the... Ooh, this is tricky. Which one of the two is more interesting? Well, we're not in the mountains, so I'm just going for birds chirping. I'll let that play before the scene has faded in. That way, what will happen is we'll hear the birds, and once the scene has loaded in, the birds continue chirping, which can set the scene in your head a little bit. You're like, oh my god, something with birds, so it must be peaceful and quiet. So that's what I'm going to do in terms of sound. So as you can see, we have the basis of a very simple cutscene. We have characters moving around, we have a conversation, we have highlighting characters with a frame. That is really all you need for a very simple cutscene. Most cutscenes in Fire Emblem are very dialogue heavy after all, so having just this, moving characters about, having a change in the music like you can see here, moving the camera about, all of that is quite simple and stuff that you can just do within Fire Emblem Builder quite easily. We've set up a very simple cutscene that isn't that big. Now I want to stray away from that little simple part a little more. We're going to make it a little more tricky. Don't worry if this was already too much. Don't worry, take your time. We're not going to add something that you'll use a super lot. This is something that's a little more niche. In this conversation, Emma asks Tim out, or not, no. Emma asks Tim for a duel. Asking someone out for a duel sounds like a dual date. I do not know what a dual date is. Do I look like the type of person to have ever been on a date? Actually, no. But that's besides the point. A dual date does sound freaking cool, though. Besides that, I'm getting distracted. We have a custom battle command, a cutscene battle, a battle where you have no influence over whatsoever. I'm going to add one of those. Don't worry, it's something very simple that you can add. If you already found this really tricky, I just recommend you replay the video and fumble about with it yourself. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Just fumble a little bit and you'll find something you'll like. That aside, we're going to add a custom battle, which can be done all the way over here in the event battle section. Yes. So these are a lot of commands, and all battle commands exist out of two separate sets of battle commands. We have the, or 3 actually. We have the all-in-one commands, which will make sense in a minute. Then we have the set event battle. Then we have the execute event battle, and the 2-in-1 will execute and set up the event and the event battle immediately. So sometimes you'll use 2 commands, a set right here and an execute, or you can just do both in one. Now, chances are that some of these do not really work correctly. I've wrestled around with this a lot as well, where I've just selected one of these commands. I set up an event battle properly by just doing a set and then executing said battle event, but it never worked. What we're going to do now is we're just going to do a 2-in-1. That way, we don't have to worry about using a separate setup and execution event. So we'll just double click on this one and hope it works. What we'll do is we can set a bunch of things. I gave Emma and Tim I gave both of them an iron sword. Hey, we can actually, this is a one-sided attack. Can I do another one actually? I want to have both of them attack. Battle event. Why was that not there? That's a bit weird. Event battle. Set event battle. Attack defender. Attack defender. Damage by attacker. This is a set. Then there's a set and execute. Attack from enemy. No counterattack. Map battle. Attack from enemy. No counterattack. I'm going to do a set and execute. So you're going to do a set. Attacker defender. Attacker defender. Which is a very big command. Don't worry though. We'll do a 3 damage method of attacker hit. We'll do another. We'll do 4 damage. Then we'll do 3 damage, and then we'll do 4. And we'll just do in hits, and just regular hits. You can set it to crits. You can set it to misses. Actually, that might be interesting. What if we just do a miss here, and then 0 damage, of course, because of course. So now the we have a set event. Now, I do hope that when we go to battle event, we can set the attacker and defender somewhere. Should not be too tricky. Execute battle event. Not a map battle. We'll do this one. This should suffice. So the attacker is, of course, Emma in this case, because Emma's the one who asked Tim to duel, and we'll just do an iron sword. I hope this works. There's only one way to find out. So now what we have here is we have a damage by attacker. We have set up everything, so there will be 3 hits and a miss. We have set up who is going to attack. We set up the attacker and defender, which is okay. Last thing you want to do when you end your event is always make sure to use a fade out to black. Because a fade out to black with speed, 16 is the default, by the way. Also for the display frames, which is this one, 60 frames, 1 second is the default, so everyone's used to it, and it's been tested. The human eye can register these frames and stuff. Don't worry, it's been tested. Fade the screen to black is not necessary. It won't break anything. But if you do that, if someone presses the skip button for skipping the cutscene, the screen won't go glitchy. So make sure to do that if you want. Unless you want to make the screen seem glitchy because you're making a hack where that's a block point. That could always be the case. So, to summarize for what we all have here, let's do a little recap. Like I do every end of the year with my channel. We have set the map where the event's going to take place on, so set a map for your cutscene. We load the units for the cutscene. We move the camera to be in the position for the cutscene. We set the background music to birds chirping. We will fade the screen to black, or from black, so that everything is properly loaded in already. Once we start the cutscene, we move the character, we move Emma to a position where she can talk to Tim without having to scream all the way across the map, even though Fire Emblem characters are known to do that. We display a frame in Emma for 60 seconds so that she can talk, and that she's highlighted so that we know it's Emma who's going to speak. We have a conversation, set event between attacker. We're setting up the battle event, then we're executing the battle event, and once the battle is done, the screen will fade to black and the cutscene is over. Right, I'm curious if this works. I am not 100% sure if it will. That is one thing that most seasoned hackers will tell you as well. Even though it seems correct in the event here, there might always be complications jumping up at some other points in the game. Don't worry, we'll fix it afterwards. I'll do it off screen, but I'll tell you what the fix was eventually. So, blah blah blah, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, beep boop beep boop. We're just going to restart the Fall of Renee. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. So now everything should load properly. So, the Fall of Renee, and you'll see that the screen fades in from black at the start of the chapter. Okay, so why is it saying encoding overload PC? Okay, what you just saw right there is something interesting. The frame displayed even though Emma was still moving. What we'll do is, instead, if that happens, a simple fix for this, I'll close the ROM, is what you can do is go to commands and type in wait for movement, and wait for the end of unit movement, which means that the frame will only start displaying after Emma has reached her destination. So this should fix the problem. Let's see if that's the case, which is something that can happen sometimes. So that is also a solution. Alright, so here we go. Yada yada yada. Look, it's fixed already. So, blah blah blah, yeah, blah blah blah. And so, now there should be a battle coming up. Encoding overload, please shut the hell up. I'm waiting for the encoding overload to go away. Why is it always that? Okay, it's gone. So, right here and now, I cannot see why not. Here I come. It's two blue units battling! Oh. Nice. I forgot that that was a thing. Anyway, so what you just saw was a cutscene in which, we just had, I hope it was visible. It's also visible in the intro otherwise. What just happened was, the event ended here, and if you look at, the Fall of Renee, why is this so small? This is the event that we just saw in the ROM, and this is the event called right afterwards. So, the chapter didn't start, or there was no chapter starting. Hence why this is a thing. Why we went from Emma and Tim sparring immediately to a country falling and panic, and despair. Which, yeah, interesting stuff. Either way, that should cover it for this tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed, if that was the case. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, even if it was helpful. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, so you stay up to date for new stuff coming out. We recently hit the 500 subs, which is an incredible amount. We're halfway to getting the channel monetized, which is not something I want for the money, but more so that I can spread the videos more, because monetized videos are pushed more by the algorithm. But thank you everyone for 500 subs. I'll see if I can do something cool for that. Either way, I want to thank you all for watching. So like and subscribe if you still haven't. Leave a comment to boost the video in the algorithm to push it forward. Or if you have a legit suggestion or question about this tutorial or a tutorial in the future, let me know every single one of your thoughts in the comments. And with all that being said, I'm XPGamesNL. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all, or I will see you all in the next FEBuilder tutorial or in the next video in general. See you all later, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.